As a creator monetization coach, I speak with creators every single day, and one of the biggest problems that I hear from them is that they have trouble staying consistent. There's one really good way to stay consistent, and that's really to stay organized. But for a lot of people, staying organized can be really difficult, whether it's your full-time job or just a side hustle. Today, I'm sharing some of my favorite methods for staying organized, consistent, and top-notch as a creator. So let's dive right into it. Hello, my friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kristen, and I'm so excited that you're here. I'm a creator monetization coach at Soulcial, as well as the host of Social Scoop podcast, where we work hand in hand with creators to help them monetize. Each week in our videos and on the podcast, you'll get the scoop on how to turn your online influence and creativity into a profitable, self-sustaining business. Now, don't forget that we interviewed Austin Tucson, who is a successful content creator who manages content on multiple platforms. In this episode of Social Scoop, we talked with her all about finding a schedule that works really well for you and staying consistent on all of the platforms. And don't forget that timestamps are down below in the description so you can hop around and find exactly what you're looking for today. First things first, learn how to batch create content. I realize that everyone and their mother has probably told you about batch creating at this point, and some people are still really resistant to it. I'll be honest, working with a lot of different students, some people just don't like batch creating and it doesn't work out for them, and that's fine, but I definitely would suggest that you give it a go first and see if it does work for you in your schedule. Especially if you're someone with a 9-to-5 job, getting comfortable batch creating content is going to make staying consistent so much easier. The great thing about batch creating content is that you don't have to every single day record something to post. You have one day where you get all of your shooting or filming done so that you can have the rest of the week to get it prepped, and then it's ready to go for days and days. Typically, I suggest splitting up those planning tasks into multiple days. For example, instead of doing everything from thinking of your ideas to filming them to editing them and scheduling them all in one day, split that throughout the week. If you were to try and do all of that in one day, your brain is going to be mush by the end of the day, and your content probably won't come out that great because you'll be exhausted. Here's an example of a batch creating schedule that's split throughout the week. Maybe on Monday you sit down and plan out all your ideas. Tuesday could be a great time to figure out exactly what you want that content to look like and maybe gather props or anything that you need to actually create the video. Wednesdays could be for writing captions, gathering keywords, or doing your hashtag research. You could use Thursdays for actually shooting the content, and then Friday would be your day to edit and schedule that content. So you've done about an hour's worth of work each day instead of trying to do all of that in one day. Obviously, you can change up all of those tasks and what day that you do certain things on, but overall, what I've learned from working with so many creators is that splitting those tasks up makes the best content and also makes your mental health much more steady. Tip number 2, eat the frog. Have you ever heard of this productivity method? If not, you're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about, but this is one of the best things that I've learned in the last couple of years. To eat the frog is to take the most daunting task on your to-do list and do it at the beginning of the day. This is a really great way to stay organized and consistent because it helps you do the things that you're really not looking forward to or that would be hanging over your head all day, and do them at the beginning of the day, so then the rest of your day goes a lot more smoothly. It's great because you don't really give yourself a chance to put that task off. Typically, if you have a task that you're not looking forward to doing, you'll push it off throughout the day until you just never get around to it. You'll end up avoiding it for way longer, and it'll become even more daunting of a task than it really needed to be at the beginning. Surprisingly, this task for me is actually shooting content. Sometimes I just don't want to get up, put makeup on, do my hair, get into an outfit, and shoot all of this content. So a lot of the times what I would do is I would put it off until later on in the day, but maybe something frustrating happened in the morning, or I'm so tired after all of my work that by the end of the day, I'm not recording anything, let's be honest. So this is why I prefer to wake up, get ready, shoot all my content so that the rest of my day goes by so much quicker and easier. And I also scheduled all of my shooting on one day of the week so that I really only have to get ready and shoot once throughout all 7 days. Eating the frog really makes your tasks a breeze. Number 3, utilize the saved folders on Instagram and TikTok. One thing a lot of creators go through when they are actually brainstorming content is when they sit down and try and think of ideas and just straight can't think of anything. This is why I love utilizing those saved folders, because anytime I'm doing research, aka scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, TikTok and I see something that inspires me or that I want to give my take on, all I do is save it into one of my saved folders. So then when I sit down to plan content, I can open those saved folders and I have a whole folder of ideas waiting for me. This is you working smarter, not harder. Number 4, create spreadsheets and tracking systems that work for you. If there's one thing that I've learned as a creator monetization coach working with a ton of different students is that everyone works so differently. Things that work really well for me do not work for all of my students. For me, I have multiple different spreadsheets where I track things like my partnerships, my income and expenses, my invoices, my to-shoot list, all of the content that I'm shooting for YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and my ideas for content. I created all of these spreadsheets with the bare bones at first, and as I went through and used these spreadsheets more and more, I learned that there were things that I didn't need on those spreadsheets and things that I needed that weren't there. So over the last year or so, I've been actually customizing these worksheets to my working style and the information that I need to have accessible really quickly. For example, in my partnership tracking spreadsheet where I track all of my partnerships, I used to just have the brand name, the rate, the deliverable, and the dates that I needed to know. Over time, I realized that I had to go back into my emails and back into the brief to look up things like hashtags, tags that I needed to include in the post, exclusivity and usage terms, as well as the creative brief. So what I did was I actually tweaked my spreadsheets to have all of these things so that when I secure a partnership, I can enter all of them in, and as I shoot and create for that partnership, all I have to do is go to one spreadsheet. It saves me a lot of time and really keeps me on track and organized as a creator. If you're not sure where to get started with spreadsheets, we have a ton of them for free for all of our SocialMate monthly creator members. For less than $10 a week, you can join into our community where you have access to me for one-on-one coaching. You have access to tons of really easy to understand resources and tools, and a like-minded community of creators to network with and bounce ideas off of at your fingertips. So we'll see you in the membership. And number 5, have a backlog of ideas. Similar to using the saved folder on Instagram or TikTok, having a spreadsheet with just ideas that you think of or things that pop up over time is a great way to make the planning process easier. On my spreadsheet, I have all of my content pillars listed out, and as soon as I think of something that applies to one of those content pillars, I add it onto that list. So then again, when I sit down to plan content, I can open that list and my saved folder, and sometimes I don't even actually have to think of any ideas outside of those. What I do that I think is also really helpful and really shows that you're showing up for your community and value what they need. Anytime I get a question from anyone in the DMs or in a post, I add it onto this spreadsheet so that I know that I'm answering questions that my audience is actually asking. Overall, being organized and staying consistent as a creator is not an easy task, and it's definitely something that's going to take a lot of trial and error for you to figure out what works perfectly for you. Every creator has a different method of staying organized and staying consistent, so put the pedal to the metal with your trial and error, and eventually you're going to find something that works perfectly for you. If you've made it this far and have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure to hit the big subscribe button and the bell notification so that you can get notified every time we release a new video for you. Also, don't forget that we interviewed Austin Tassone, who is a successful creator and stays very consistent on multiple platforms on Social Scoop Podcast. She teaches us everything we need to know about making sure we have a system in place that's going to keep us consistent as creators on multiple platforms. You can find that episode down in the description or anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye!